So
Here's the scripture backing up, by the way. Matthew 28. Matthew 20:28.
exactly. So this just goes back to what I was saying before. Fully human, so he had to humble himself. Like he just gave me a verse.
Who's humbling? The man or God?
No, Jesus had to humble himself.
When you say
So
he's
as
man
God,
and
he had to humble himself and become human.
Explain to me. Because he's God and man.
Read the verse.
Because he's God and man, right? Who is humbling himself? Is it the God aspect humbling or the man aspect humbling? Man is humble anyway. Man is never equal to God in any way, shape or form. Always lower in status, in attributes and so on. So man is already humble. So is he humbling as God?
Is he humbled as God? No, him coming as a form, as a human, that's already, it's a sign of humility. Why he did not come and boast that, listen, I am God, that's a sign of humility. Jesus washed his disciples' feet, that's a sign of humility.
In terms of his divinity and humanity, what is being humbled? What is being limited and restricted? The human side, humanity side, or the divine side, the divinity?
What do you think? So he's, because I don't know how to answer it, but I know they would.
They can help you.
Or the humanity of Christ.
We have no issue with God himself humbling himself.
Yeah, but he's asking, was it the God or the human version?
So the restricting of the divinity or humanity? Restricting and limiting the divinity or the humanity?
The divinity can choose to be the fullness of humanity and live in itself. We have no problem.
What did you learn? What is being restricted? Divinity restricted or humanity restricted?
Is divinity restricted or humanity of Jesus? That's the question.
Well, if divinity itself chooses to join onto itself the fullness of flesh, then innately he is giving it the ability to enact on some of his attributes, right?
Right,
What's the answer? Divinity restricted.
So in his humanity, Jesus doesn't know
Because-
this, but in his divinity he does.
You see,
Because
either
you're
the
looking-
restriction. Look, the answer needs to be quite clear. As you can see, you've asked him thrice.
No, because you're looking for a certain answer. You're looking for a certain answer. I know this, that's why.
The answer we want to clarify this issue, what is being restricted? God's divinity being restricted? Or the human who's been created being restricted?
God.
What's being restricted?
And then I want you to answer a
Oh
question.
my God.
What's restricted? You can ask them. They seem to be well knowledgeable.
I think-
in the park, they go on boasting that we know. Okay, they can teach you. Go ahead.
As a human, there was restrictions that he had. For
So
example,
humanity is
like the verse that all Muslims like to bring. How can he be God if he doesn't know the hour? Now, fully human, there's restrictions. Like I said to you, I don't remember what I ate 2 weeks ago. So there's restrictions, but that doesn't mean I didn't eat something 2 weeks ago. It's just that right now, maybe I don't remember, or maybe I'm just choosing not to access to that part of information. That's why I'm saying I'm fine with not having like an answer. I'm fine with not knowing 100%. That does not now completely make me want to throw away the Bible, forget the whole message and forget about Jesus, because there's so much more to what Jesus came to do than to tell us, listen, tomorrow at 5 p.m. you're gonna die. Like that's not what life is about.
God, before he created any humans, he was God with his divinity, divine attributes. So my question is very simple, which I need to get a clear answer.
Do you want to see Allah into himself?
Without any heckling, right? You said
What, the veil before his eyes?
We were having a good conversation, so without any heckling. So I've heard what you just said.
About Christianity.
Yeah.
He's not going to let you get away with it.
At some point,
He's just going to
Do you see how the conversation is now being heckled?
Mansur's know anything about Islam.
Because he won't be fair.
Do you see what's
He won't
happening?
talk about his own faith.
Instead of dealing with the conversation that we're having, hecklers comes in, who's supposed to be knowledgeable on the subject matter, and then are helping you.
I don't think it's heckless. It's
Okay.
more so they know
Right.
you more than me, so
Right.
they know what things you say
So-
when you're trying to do something.
Fine. So God in his divinity, God in his divinity, is the divinity of God being restricted, or the human that God created flesh is his creation? The flesh of Jesus is a creation of God. So is that being restricted in terms of knowledge, for example, or the divinity of God in his divine nature, who is all knowledgeable, that is being restricted? So maybe you can ask them again, because they misunderstood.
the best
Just like
way-
how Allah doesn't exercise his mercy if there's no one to exercise his mercy to. Simple.
The best way I
is
can
actually
answer your
limited.
question is that when he became flesh, he restricted himself. This is why we say he humbled himself.
What is restricted, the divinity or the humanity? They can help you because they're supposed to be knowledgeable.
No, they've
let me
helped,
get-
but you're
let me give
not
an answer.
like.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's fine,
you.
it's okay.
He's going to keep doing this, and he's not going to get you.
Yeah, Mansur, I think, is like getting.
Because I don't waffle, as you can realize so far. I am very direct, and I don't want people to waffle around.
Mansur, why does Allah have a veil? Direct answer.
Am I speaking about football now? Don't
No, you're
derail the
talking about God
conversation.
limiting. No, you're talking about God limiting.
So
and
what
we are
happened?
also talking about God limiting. Same topic.
So,
same topic.
so did the divinity restrict?
No, but your wife-
You have
So.
someone to help you, if they are able to. So, did the divinity restrict itself from its divine knowledge and became less than knowledgeable? Or the human being that was created or incarnated into, which is already restricted by anyway, but further restricted?
Does Allah know all experiential knowledge?
What I will say is that I have answered your question to the best ability that I can. Now, I don't know what answer you're looking for.
I asked you a
but
direct
it's-
question.
Yeah, I've answered it. I said when he became flesh,
No, when you
he
said
had
he-
restrictions.
What restricted? The divinity or the humanity?
The divinity wraps itself in flesh. Therefore, it is appropriate for the divinity not to exercise its attributes. That's fine.
There you go, that's the answer.
So the divinity restricted.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. There we go.
Do you believe
Now,
it's
he has the
possible?
same thing.
Do you
So
believe
what?
it's possible? The divine nature of God can limit itself.
Yeah,
But
right here.
wait. If God
What it
chooses
says.
not to do something,
Right
is he
there.
not limiting himself?
So God all knowledgeable can become ignorant, right? You believe that?
But it's not, no, it's not about being ignorant. It's about choosing not to have access or choosing
What does
at
it
this
mean?
moment.
So give me an
Because you
example.
know, saying ignorant, it means that you just don't know it. It's
so,
like, it's the
so
same
when
thing.
you
with-
have no access to knowledge, imagine now, God incarnates into human
just
body.
interrupted me.
Does he
like,
have access to all knowledge? Or does he have not access to all knowledge? Is there something that he has no access of? Or to?
I mean, according to the Bible, he at that time he had no access to the time or the
So
hour.
he is not all knowledgeable at that time.
According to the Bible,
Yeah.
But
So,
again,
so
in
here is
Islam,
here is the
the same
problem.
thing would apply.
If you're all knowledgeable,
Right.
if you are all knowledgeable, what it means, there is no limits and there is no preventing access because you know all the time.
So
all
does Allah
knowledgeable.
know how to say
All
that?
knowledgeable means
Allah know how to
no
say that?
restriction of time, of any time,
Does
as
Allah
I
know what it
explained
means
before.
to sin?
but
Does it
the
make
issue
sense?
is, it's like it's the same thing with you right now. I'm not really sure if you're choosing to like not acknowledge. I'm sure you know this. I've said this about like 10 times now. Fully divine and fully human. Now the reason this is why he was even God, because how can you be two things? That shows
I'm not
that
arguing
he's
anything like that.
okay.
So-
Just let me finish because I'm getting somewhere. That's why he's even God. It's not just about him being able to forgive sins. Two things that don't make sense to me. That shows that he's God, but there's so much more. Now, fully divine, fully human. When you're human, I've said this already. I don't remember what I ate last week. That does not mean I didn't eat something. Now, Jesus saying, and I believe he said this as his human side. Now, him saying he doesn't know the hour or the time, it doesn't mean that as the Trinity, it's not revealed. I'm just saying, as a human side, he said, I don't know. And for me, that's completely fine. It's not a big issue.
If I've understood you correctly, on his human side, he doesn't know, but in his divine side, he knows.
Who knows? Only God knows.
What do you know?
I
does the
know
Bible
what
say?
the Bible tells me.
So what does the Bible say?
That he doesn't know the hour or the time.
So if the human side doesn't know, I have no problem with that because human side is ignorant anyway. No human being is all knowledgeable. But I have a problem if the divine side doesn't know. So if you say the human side didn't know, the divine knew, so you're saying Jesus has two personalities in which...
That's not what I said.
Okay.
That's not what I said.
So when he says I don't know, him being divine, he knows. Yeah?
I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm just a possibility.
So what is the
Chris,
answer
you wanna
here?
come
No,
here?
no, I don't
Because,
speak to
like-
hecklers. I don't speak to hecklers.
No,
I don't-
he's not heckling.
He is a heckler.
He's been very respectful.
This discussion, sorry, this discussion will be over.
Do you want me to be? Do you want me
This
to have a
discussion
chat with
will be over the moment heck comes in.
He's not
I
heckling.
did not stop you from learning from them if they knew anything about
She asked me
Bible and
to come
Christianity,
here. She asked me to
but
come
I
here.
don't speak to them.
She asked me to come here.
No, Chris, can you come here?
Okay.
I'm coming here now. You're right with
Nice
that?
talking
Is
to
that
you.
okay?
Okay, that's completely fine.
Just bear in mind, nice talking. Just bear in mind though, I'm not speaking to you. Bear in mind though, we have spoken about.
You can't address Christians.
We have spoken about.
It only goes to people. Who
I don't
think
speak
it's
to hecklers, but I
I was
did not
patient.
object.
I was patient.
Hecklers
So guys, he's clearly started running as soon as Chris said it. So
Didn't even know anything anyway. No. Take care. Take care. Look into Islam and worship the God who deserves our worship. The God who is dependent is not worthy of our worship. Just be honest. Yeah? Nice speaking to you. Take care.
well, as you can see, guys, as soon as I called in someone he knows more than me, he's refused to engage in the conversation. I'm very open to say some things I don't know, so I invited Chris, but as soon as Chris came, he started running. So,
They just targeted a new woman here, and that's the best they have.
They are seen as sinless or innocent people.
okay, actually, can we discuss about it? Because I said, correct me if I'm wrong, I said that the Trinity dependent on each other, but they're independent to that outside. What would do you think that's true?
There are different ways of understanding it. There's the monarchy perspective, which is that the Son and the Spirit are dependent on the Father, because the Father is aseik, the proper way of understanding aseity. So when they say is God dependent on anything, simply say, well, the Father, the particular person of the Trinity, is not dependent on anything. But the Son and the Spirit are dependent on the Father for their begottenness, because the Father begotten the Son.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know about the filioque, but you can either say the Father begotten the Spirit or the Father and the Son begotten the Spirit, but whichever you say is fine.
Yeah, so with, like, Jesus saying that I don't know the hour, like I said, for me it's not a big deal, like, because there can be many people that say different things that, oh, he didn't know, or...
A good way of approaching this is to say that, well, what do we mean by know in the sense of, so from Freud, we know there's a conscious way of knowing, and an unconscious way.
Yeah.
A subliminal, subconscious, right? So for example, you aren't consciously thinking of an elephant, but now you are, because I've mentioned it.
Right.
But you still know what elephants are, right? Even though you weren't thinking of it consciously. So in humanity, when we think about knowing, it depends on what you mean exactly by that.
Right.
What we do know is that there is a real sense in that Christ did not know the hour, and there's a real sense that he did, in the sense that there could be a real sense you know that your mother loves you, but you might not be consciously thinking of that right now.
Right, yeah.
If I made you take an exam about some things that you do actually know some parts of, you might be able to know it from the subconscious, but consciously you might not be thinking about it.
He's the cause of me having 7 cameras around me.
You are not ready.
You just left me.
Of your sin.
It should have come in.
Yeah, okay, that's cool, that's fine. Yeah.
Sister, what happened there with Mansur?
Well, we're back here again in the open air asylum. But yeah, so I'm a very honest Christian. If I don't really understand something, if I have other Christians who know more than me, then I will welcome them into the conversation. And you're gonna see it in the video. I asked them, not to heckle, and they didn't. And then Mansur kept asking a question. I gave him an answer, but it's like he didn't really want to accept it. So I said, okay. I said, Chris, can you come in and help me? And all of a sudden, Mansur was like, no, I don't entertain hecklers, and he basically just ended the conversation. So, I mean, what more is there to say? Yeah, maybe it's the way Islam, how they feel about women, maybe. But yeah.
Great. Any final words to the family watching?
Final words, give your life to Jesus Christ. That is my final words.
Praise the Lord.
No worries.